Alright, so you're not telling me past the story. We have this unfortunate woman who pretty much have ain't shit man in her life, and unfortunately one of them being her own son and her soon to be ex-boyfriend. So they're past. I'm 41 years old. I have two children with my ex-husband. I divorced him because he's a lazy, very lazy man who didn't like to work. My son will be 21 this month and he's working. So she had her child when she was in her, or basically in her 20s. So yeah, pretty young mom, but whatever. But Pastor, he's very selfish. Basically shades of his father. When he gets paid every 2 weeks, he just purchases fast food and makes many trips to the neighborhood shop. I'm tired of telling him to leave there because he hardly contributes to anything, but wants to partake in most of the things we provide in the house. Again, pretty much like his dad. If we eat and have leftovers, he eats them. He loves his belly too much and irritates my spirit a lot. I pray that God will change him on his 21st birthday. I've been on my own since I was 18. Told me he has been too privileged. I also told him that if he doesn't change, he has to go somewhere else. My daughter's 16. Alright, so trying to do, yeah, okay, so she had her bit when she was in her early 20s, basically. And she's doing extremely well in school. She's a straight A student and I'm very proud of her. She's also well behaved and I thank God for the way she is every day. Pastor, their father's not giving her anything. If it's not for my son to give her, it is for my son to give $1,000 to buy her necessary things, she would die. I told him that I'm very disappointed in him and that my spirit is very irritated with his behavior. I'm also a backslider who's living with a man who I love very much who's 64 years old. He's hardworking, someone I've considered marrying, but right now I'm having second thoughts. It's like I'm at a crossroads. The problem I'm having is that he curses too much. I yearn to be back under the umbrella of God, and Ten Church doesn't teach much for his man to curse atop his head because he loves to be heard. Yeah, so basically she somewhat traded up from a worthless man to a less worthless man. And when I say traded up, that is sarcasm on my part. But let's continue. I don't like specifics, and when I hear them, it's like my spirit gets crossed. He knows I don't like them, but he comes a curse and then he apologizes. This man cannot reason and he doesn't accept blame when he's wrong. You don't see other people's faults. I told him that I'm very ashamed of him and I'm not going anywhere with him. We've been together for the past 4 years. That's longer than she need to be with this guy, but whatever. This man doesn't even have a birth certificate. We have been trying to get one for him, but to no avail. I just feel like I'm wasting my life sometimes with this man. I feel so trapped. I want to read my life to God. And she just goes on to say that basically she knows she can do better and she's trying to better herself, but she has some ain't shit dudes around her. And that's just the gist of the story. Yeah, all I can say is, yeah, this is feel for this woman in a sense, but again, she's very obvious she has bad taste in men. Like, if she was going to procreate and have two children with a man who's worthless, knows he's worthless, and so on. And this was probably clear from the get go that the first husband guy was no shit, was ain't shit, and mistake she obviously made was that she put up with the first girl husband too long before she finally said, you know what, I really can do better than this guy. And unfortunately, the husband's ex-husband's so behavior has rubbed off his son because it's very obvious that the son grew up seeing his father, what his father's legacy. You know what? If I want to be a waste of skin, I shouldn't dare to be such because my father's is pretty much it fits that mold, and I want to emulate my father. Because you have to remember, like when there's a father in the household, for better or worse, the children, especially the sons, will seek to emulate what the father is, for better or worse. All right, because so that was the mistake the mother made. That she should have known. She obviously knew what the father was on, and she allowed by put up with the father too long as she need to be. That kind of behavior has rubbed off on the son, and now his son, unfortunately, wants to be worthless just like his father, when it should not be the case. So blame is on the parents for this. The father for being a sack of shit, and the mother for enabling, for staying up on this guy way too long. No, the daughter, I'm guessing, probably gravitated towards her mother more and said, "Hey, I don't want to be like my shit father," and I decided to do better. So she's obviously raised the daughter, or daughter just probably said, "You know, I have enough willpower, enough empathy to say that I'm not going to be like my father. I'm going to emulate my mother." And that is good. So she has one worthless child and one child who's not worthless. So that's good. But I think the thing is that this woman just has very bad taste in men, because the fact that this other dude who's older, who's maybe is not as worthless as her ex, he just basically is, like I said, the fact that this guy likes to curse and this guy has an arrogant streak where he believes that You can't tell him nothing that okay, nothing's wrong with me. Like he has this persecution complex. Yeah, that's not gonna go well. Cause like I say, you people who are like that, especially if they're that kind of spirit, yeah, those are people that will make your life hell. All right, cause so on. Cause like I say, if he's going to start cursing, who else knows what he's going to do if she stays with him? So I think the problem I have is that this woman sounds like she has her head on her shoulders, but she has shitty taste in men, and I would surmise that probably she grew up. Maybe her parents, maybe her dad probably was like that, and the mom put it, and she probably said, okay, and maybe I can change this person. Here's the thing that most people need to with sense need to realize: you can't change someone who, especially if they're that age where they know better. You can't change a person who's on some bullshit though. The person, if that person made up their mind they're gonna be on some bullshit, thing to do is just leave that person alone, let that person be. And that's pretty much what I can say about this. So this is for State of Jamaica and the Caribbean. Check out my YouTube pages. Miles Gusson Fern, Miles Production. We'll talk to Miles.